The life and family of King David in biblical history are marked by a series of tragic events and intense conflicts. In today's video, we delve into the heartbreaking lives of David's renowned children. From Amnon's betrayal and hunger for power to Tamar's unbearable suffering. From Absalom's violent rebellion to Adonijah's fatal ambition, and ultimately, Solomon's turbulent rise to the throne. This narrative goes beyond isolated tales and illustrates the outcomes of sin and lessons that transcend time. Before we start, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated. A single like takes a moment, but has a huge impact on us. The tale begins with Tamar, an Israeli princess. As the child of David and Maacah from Geshur, she was the only full sister of Absalom. Tamar, celebrated as one of the most beautiful women in King David's realm, faced a shattered life after being victimized by her half-brother, Amnon. Tamar's sorrowful journey began when Amnon, consumed by uncontrolled desire and sinful fixation, feigned illness to lure her into caring for him. Amnon sought to exploit this moment of vulnerability to fulfill his wicked desires, dismissing all of Tamar's cries and protests. She tried to resist, citing the law, but he overpowered her and raped her. Afterward, Amnon's anger turned toward Tamar, and he assaulted her. She pleaded with him to marry her to protect her dignity, but he forced her out of his presence. Overcome with panic, Tamar ripped her robe and fled in tears, and word of the assault began to circulate within David's royal household. Stricken by pain and humiliation, Tamar, who was devastated both physically and emotionally, bore a deep scar that would never fade. Her agony wasn't just a fleeting moment, but a lifetime of sorrow that tarnished her honor and destiny. Dressed in mourning and desperation, Tamar turned to her brother Absalom for support, but even this did not ease her inner torment. Although David was furious about the incident, he took no action because Amnon was his designated heir. His silence only deepened the injustice Tamar suffered. Quietly, Tamar became a symbol of suffering and injustice, a tragic figure caught in family turmoil and broken moral boundaries. Tamar's story stands as a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked greed and the lack of justice in David's family, with repercussions that lingered for generations. When Absalom learned of the horrifying crime against Tamar, he was consumed by fury and grief. He took her into his care, comforted her, and swore to take revenge. The pain Tamar endured, combined with the bitter frustration over King David's silence, fueled Absalom's belief that justice had been ignored, driving him to take action himself. Once celebrated for his extraordinary looks that captivated all of Israel, Absalom now appeared as a different man, a figure consumed by his thirst for revenge, far removed from his image of perfection. For 2 years, Absalom kept his burning hatred hidden, methodically preparing to make Amnon pay. When the moment arrived, he hosted a lavish banquet at Baal Hazor, inviting his brothers, including Amnon. Beneath the surface of hospitality was his smoldering anger and a carefully laid plan for retribution. The celebration transformed into a bloody spectacle of revenge. Taking advantage of Amnon's unsuspecting state, Absalom instructed his servants to attack, ending Amnon's life with calculated ruthlessness. Afterward, Absalom fled to Geshur, where his grandfather, King Talmai, ruled, leaving behind a devastated family and a palace drenched in sorrow. Amnon's murder severed the brotherly connection and deepened an irreparable rift between David and Absalom, weakening their relationship and overshadowing it with blood and grief. Joab, a steadfast and influential commander in David's court, recognized the king's inner conflict and sought to mend the family strife. To ease David's sorrow, Joab enlisted a wise woman from Koa to tell a story that would resonate with the king. She shared an account of 2 sons, where one killed the other, and their family demanded vengeance, evoking the pain of loss and a plea for justice. David, moved by the narrative, denounced revenge, unaware of its parallels to his situation with Absalom. The story deeply moved David, leading him to contemplate forgiving Absalom. He eventually allowed Absalom to return to Jerusalem, albeit with a firm refusal to meet him in person. During this time, Absalom secretly cultivated his desire for authority. Using his charisma and striking appearance, he gained the favor of the people. He stationed himself at the palace entrance, engaging with those seeking justice, portraying himself as a compassionate and understanding leader. Absalom took advantage of every opportunity to criticize the court's failures in justice, while portraying himself as a leader committed to fairness and the people's well-being. Through his persuasive speech and magnetic personality, Absalom steadily gained the support of Israel's tribes. Traveling widely, he forged alliances and exploited public discontent to enhance his personal influence. Once he had the people's favor, Absalom declared himself king in Hebron, setting off a bloody war with his father. The kingdom was torn apart. David, the God-anointed king, stood against Absalom, the courageous yet power-hungry son. Absalom's actions jeopardized David's rule and cast a foreboding shadow over Israel's destiny, serving as a timeless warning against the perils of betrayal and hubris. Confronted by his son's rebellion, David had to flee Jerusalem to avoid direct conflict. Despite his attempts at reconciliation, tensions escalated into civil war, forcing David's followers to fight Absalom's forces, dividing brothers against each other. These battles transcended mere physical contests, becoming stages for both family and national tragedy, with past wounds and rifts laid bare. The narrative's climax unfolds in the forest of Ephraim, where David's troops confronted Absalom's army. While the Bible omits intricate details, the battle is portrayed as brutal, blood-soaked, and heartbreaking, rupturing familial ties. Absalom's tragic demise was marked by irony. His long hair, once a symbol of pride, became ensnared in an oak tree, leaving him defenseless and suspended. Despite David's explicit command to spare Absalom, Joab, his commander, disregarded the king's wishes and killed the helpless Absalom. This left David devastated. David's grief-stricken lament reverberated, "My son Absalom, my son Absalom. If only I had died instead of you, Absalom. My son, my son." 2 Samuel 18:33. It was a father's mournful cry, unaffected by betrayal. The battle at Ephraim Forest ended Absalom's rebellion, but inflicted an emotional wound on David. Though victorious militarily, David faced a poignant personal loss. Absalom's death reminded David of his earlier transgressions, his liaison with Bathsheba and Uriah's murder, defiant acts against divine law that brought both familial and divine consequences. Following her brother's death, Tamar became the sole caretaker of her niece, who shared her name, Tamar. The Bible describes Tamar as a desolate woman in her brother's house, grieving and scarred by the trauma of her assault. Her later life and death remain unknown. During the instability within King David's royal family, Adonijah, the fourth son of the king, rose with ambitions to claim the throne, reigniting the battle for succession. The name Adonijah, meaning "the Lord is my God," might symbolize the family's bond with faith or his immense aspirations. Adonijah, born to David and Haggith, one of David's many wives, grew up in a royal environment alongside notable siblings like Amnon, Absalom, Tamar, and Solomon. Eager to secure his position, Adonijah planned a coup to crown himself king while David was still alive. As David's health deteriorated with age, his grip on leadership weakened. Sensing the opportunity, Adonijah, the eldest surviving son of David, initiated daring steps to seize the throne, disregarding Solomon's rightful claim. Solomon's succession had been divinely ordained, as conveyed through the prophet Nathan, affirming that David's lineage would endure and one of his descendants would reign forever. Undeterred, Adonijah hosted a grand banquet at En Rogel, inviting the princes and powerful allies in the kingdom to gather support for his kingship. Although portrayed as a grand festival, the feast was a calculated move by Adonijah to solidify his claim. Those loyal to David and Solomon, like Nathan the prophet, Abiathar the priest, and Benaiah the general, were conspicuously absent, a clear indication of Adonijah's exclusionary tactics. Though frail in health, David remained alert to Adonijah's attempt to seize the throne. Acting swiftly and decisively, he named Solomon, his son by Bathsheba, as the rightful successor. This choice, aligned with God's will, secured the line of succession, but also ignited fresh tensions within the royal family. Adonijah and his followers, confronted with this reality, were outraged and faced significant defeat. Fearing Solomon's reprisal, Adonijah fled to the altar at the tent of meeting, a holy place of sanctuary, to plead for mercy and protection. For Solomon, this was a chance to demonstrate the grace of a newly crowned king. Solomon assured Adonijah that his life would be spared as long as he remained loyal, emphasizing that his reign would prioritize peace and justice. Adonijah, moved by Solomon's clemency, temporarily yielded and returned home, recognizing Solomon's authority. However, his ambitions lingered, and he began strategizing to regain influence. In a calculated effort, he approached Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, to petition Solomon for permission to marry Abishag, the young woman who had attended to David in his final days. Marrying Abishag was a deliberate move to strengthen Adonijah's standing and extend his influence within the royal court. Solomon, however, saw through Adonijah's hidden agenda. This request was not merely about marriage, but a calculated challenge to the throne's stability. Sensing the threat, Solomon took firm action. According to 1 Kings 2:24-25, Solomon proclaimed, "As the Lord lives, who has established me securely on my father David's throne, and has made me a house as he promised, Adonijah shall be executed today." To protect the kingdom, Solomon commanded Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, to carry out Adonijah's execution. With that act, Adonijah's aspirations for the throne were extinguished, and Solomon's reign entered a more secure phase. Solomon started his reign by conducting a large-scale purge, targeting figures such as his father's chief general Joab, among others, and secured his rule by appointing allies to key positions in both religious and civil military sectors. He is believed to have ascended the throne at the age of 15. He greatly expanded his military capabilities, focusing on his cavalry and chariots, and established various colonies that also doubled as trading hubs and military outposts. Throughout his lengthy reign, Solomon became renowned for his wisdom, immense wealth, and extraordinary leadership, most notably for constructing the magnificent temple in Jerusalem. He is remembered as the richest king of Israel mentioned in the scriptures. Solomon's death is briefly mentioned in the Book of Kings, offering no detailed account. The Bible merely states that he rested with his ancestors and was buried in the city of David, his father. 1 Kings 11:43. With the phrase "rested with his ancestors" serving as a solemn biblical metaphor for eternal rest. The narratives of the lives and tragic ends of David's sons, ranging from Amnon's crime against Tamar to Absalom's sorrowful rebellion and Adonijah's ambitious plot, form a tapestry of the dire consequences of unbridled ambition, misplaced desires, and estrangement from faith. Each act of wrongdoing plunged the royal family deeper into successive tragedies, highlighting unresolved inner conflicts that neither strength nor strategy could mend. Nevertheless, these grim accounts also emphasize the Bible's message of repentance and forgiveness. Even amid profound human suffering, hope and redemption remain, reminding us that the spiritual journey, guided by justice, honesty, and divine principles, offers purpose and renewal, no matter the missteps. If these stories resonate with you and you wish to delve deeper into biblical characters and lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay informed about future content. Share your insights or takeaways from David and his family's tumultuous saga in the comments below. Thank you for watching. May God's blessings be with you and your family.